I'm standing in my kitchen at 7:30 on a Saturday morning, steam rising from my coffee mug, when my phone buzzes with a text from my cousin Bethany. Your mom's telling everyone you got fired again. Thanksgiving's gonna be so awkward, lol. My hand freezes halfway to my mouth. Again. The word sits there on my screen like a knife between my ribs. I read it 3 times, each pass making my chest tighter. My name is Harper Westfield. I'm 32 years old, and I haven't been fired from anything since I was 19 and showed up late to my hostess shift at Applebee's one too many times. I set the mug down carefully, watching the liquid inside tremble from the slight shake in my hands. Through my apartment window, I can see the Seattle skyline catching the morning sun, the Space Needle standing sharp against a rare clear November sky. My laptop sits open on the kitchen counter, 3 browser tabs visible, our company's analytics dashboard, the media buy confirmation for our national TV spot, and my personal bank statement showing the direct deposit from 2 days ago. Senior Vice President of Marketing, 6 figures, stock options that vested last quarter. Unemployed. I laugh, but there's no humor in it, just this hollow, bitter sound that echoes in my empty apartment. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Bethany. She said you're between opportunities and living off credit cards. I'm so sorry, Harper. I sink onto my bar stool, coffee forgotten. This isn't new. This is a pattern worn so deep into my family's fabric that I should have seen it coming. But somehow, every time, it still lands like a surprise punch. My younger sister Madison is the golden child. Always has been. She's 28, married to Brandon, who works in his father's commercial real estate firm, lives in a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs with a professionally landscaped yard. She doesn't work, hasn't since the wedding 3 years ago. She spends her days at Pure Barre, planning dinner parties and posting Instagram stories about her wellness journey. And she's perfect. In my mother's eyes, Madison is everything a woman should be. I am not. I pull up my messages with my mom. The last text was from me 5 days ago. Can't wait to see everyone at Thanksgiving. I have some exciting news to share. She never responded. Now I understand why. The office is quiet when I arrive Monday morning. I'm always first in, a habit from my startup days when being first meant you cared more, worked harder, wanted it more than everyone else. Our company, Catalyst Digital, occupies the 14th floor of a building in South Lake Union. We're a digital marketing agency that specializes in brand transformation for mid-sized companies trying to break into national markets. I built the marketing department from scratch 4 years ago when we were just 20 employees working out of a WeWork space. Now we're 150 people strong. And 3 months ago, we landed our biggest client yet, Cascade Coffee, a Pacific Northwest chain ready to expand nationwide. My campaign, Home is Where Your Coffee Knows Your Name, was risky, emotional, nostalgic. It tested through the roof. And last week, we got confirmation that our 30-second spot would air during the Thanksgiving Day football game. National broadcast, 18 million projected viewers. I'm standing at my office window when my boss, Jack Rothman, knocks on the doorframe. He's 53, former CCO at a major agency in New York, and he took a chance on me when I was 28 with more ambition than experience. You're here early, he says, holding 2 cups of coffee. He hands me one. Nervous about Thursday. I take the cup, grateful, excited. This could change everything for us. It will change everything. He sits in the chair across from my desk, his expression shifting to something more serious. Harper, I want to talk to you about something. The board met last week. My stomach drops. In my experience, nothing good follows that sentence. We're opening a New York office, Jack continues. We need someone to lead it, build it from the ground up just like you did here. I recommended you. They agreed unanimously. I stare at him. New York. Chief Marketing Officer, full equity stake, you'd be reporting directly to the board. He leans forward. This is the opportunity, Harper, the one that makes you an executive at 32 instead of 40. I should be thrilled. This is everything I've worked toward. But all I can think about is my mother telling everyone I'm unemployed, my sister's smug face at every family gathering, the way my father looks past me like I'm a disappointment he's too polite to acknowledge. When do you need an answer? I ask. After the holidays, think about it. Talk it over with your family at Thanksgiving. He grins. Nothing like a successful national ad campaign to prove you've made it, right? After he leaves, I sit at my desk for a long time, staring at the framed photo I keep on my bookshelf. It's from Madison's wedding. We're both in bridesmaid dresses. Her choice was a pale blush that washed me out completely. In the photo, she's radiant, laughing at something Brandon's father said. I'm standing slightly behind her, smiling a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. My mother is in the background, looking at Madison like she hung the moon. I pull out my phone and scroll back through our family text chain. It's mostly Madison sending photos of recipe experiments, my mom responding with heart emojis and enthusiastic praise. My own messages, updates about work projects, articles I found interesting, attempts to share my life, get single word responses if they get answered at all. The last time I tried to tell my mother about the Cascade campaign, she cut me off mid sentence to ask if I'd seen Madison's new dining room chandelier on Instagram. I open a new text to my mom. Bethany told me what you've been saying about me. We need to talk. I stare at it for 5 minutes before deleting it unsent. What's the point? She'll deny it, or worse, tell me I'm being too sensitive. That I misunderstood. That Bethany must have misheard. She's been gaslighting me since I was 16 and chose soccer over piano lessons, college over staying home to help Madison with her anxiety, my career over finding a husband. Every choice I made for myself became evidence of my selfishness. Thanksgiving at my parents' house in Bellevue is always an elaborate production. My mother, Patricia Westfield, treats it like a performance where she's both director and star. The house is a sprawling colonial with white columns and a circular driveway. Madison and Brandon live 10 minutes away. I live 40 minutes away in Seattle, but it might as well be another planet. I pull up at 4 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, exactly when Mom requested. The driveway is already crowded with cars. My Aunt Linda's Mercedes, Uncle Robert's Tesla, various cousins' vehicles. My chest tightens as I park my sensible Honda Civic next to Brandon's new BMW. I sit in my car for a moment, checking my reflection in the rearview mirror. I'm wearing a navy silk blouse and tailored pants, professional but appropriate. My dark hair is pulled back in a low ponytail. I look competent, put together, successful. It won't matter. I grab the pumpkin pie I picked up from the bakery. I learned years ago that bringing homemade anything just invites comparison to Madison's Pinterest perfect creations, and head toward the house. Before I reach the door, it swings open. Madison stands there in a cream-colored cashmere sweater and high-waisted jeans that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. She's holding a glass of white wine, her smile bright and sharp. Harper, you made it. She pulls me into a hug that smells like expensive perfume and feels like a performance for whoever might be watching. Mom was worried you'd have to work or something. There it is, the first cut, delivered with a smile. Nope, I'm all yours, I say, matching her cheerful tone. Where should I put this? Oh, just the kitchen counter is fine. She waves dismissively at the pie. I made 3 different desserts this year. Mom wanted to try my new salted caramel apple tart recipe. Of course she did. The house is warm and smells like roasted turkey and cinnamon. In the living room, my relatives are scattered across the leather furniture, drinks in hand, laughter punctuating their conversations. My father, Richard, is holding court by the fireplace, telling a story about something that happened at his dental practice. My mother is in the kitchen, orchestrating the final stages of dinner with the precision of a general commanding troops. Harper, my Aunt Linda, spots me first. She's my mother's older sister, and she's wearing the expression of someone who knows gossip and is eager to deploy it. Sweetheart, how are you? Your mother mentioned you've had some changes lately. And here we go. I'm great, actually, I say, setting down the pie. Work has been incredible, we just launched. Oh, work. My mother appears from the pantry, wiping her hands on a towel. She kisses my cheek, a brief, distracted gesture. Yes, well, we're all just glad you're figuring things out, dear. It must be so stressful, all that uncertainty. I freeze. What uncertainty? Well, she waves her hand vaguely. The job market is so unstable these days, all those tech layoffs. Mom, I haven't been laid off. Of course not, honey. I'm just saying in this economy, nothing is guaranteed. That's why it's so important to have stability, like Madison and Brandon. She beams at my sister, who's appeared in the doorway. A stable home, a strong marriage. Those are the things that matter. My cousin Bethany catches my eye from across the room, her expression apologetic. I take a breath. I'm not unemployed, Mom. I'm the senior vice president. Let's get everyone to the table. My mother claps her hands. Dinner is ready. And just like that, I'm dismissed. Dinner is a carefully choreographed hierarchy. My parents sit at the heads of the table. Madison and Brandon are to my mother's right, positioned like royalty. I'm near the far end, between Bethany and my 15-year-old cousin Tyler, who spends the entire meal on his phone. The conversation flows around me. My father asks Brandon about his latest real estate deal. My mother asks Madison about her plans for Christmas decorating. Uncle Robert talks about his recent golf trip to Scottsdale. Aunt Linda brings up her book club's latest selection. No one asks me anything. I'm cutting into my turkey, my jaw tight, when my mother says, Madison, tell everyone about the charity gala you're planning. Madison lights up. Oh, yes, I'm co-chairing the Children's Hospital fundraiser in February. We're hoping to raise over $200,000. It's going to be at the Four Seasons, Black Tie Live Orchestra. She touches Brandon's arm. Brandon's parents have already pledged $20,000. The table erupts in praise. My mother looks like she might burst with pride. That's wonderful, Madison, Aunt Linda says. Using your time to give back, that's what really matters. Unlike those of us who waste our lives in office buildings, Uncle Robert jokes, but his eyes flick to me. Right, Harper. I set down my fork carefully. I don't think building a successful career is a waste. Oh, no one said that. My mother jumps in quickly. We're just saying there's more to life than work. Madison has balance, she has priorities. I have priorities too, Mom. Yes, well, she takes a sip of wine. We all make our choices. The implication hangs in the air like smoke, and yours are wrong. I excuse myself to the bathroom, needing a moment to breathe. In the hallway, I lean against the wall and close my eyes. I can hear Madison's laughter from the dining room, the warm rumble of approval from everyone else. I pull out my phone. There's an email from Jack. Campaign goes live at 8:47 p.m. during halftime. Get ready for your life to change. I check the time, 6:15. 2.5 hours. When I return to the table, dessert is being served. Madison's salted caramel apple tart is in the center of the table on a crystal cake stand, looking like something from a magazine spread. My store-bought pie sits off to the side, still in its plastic container. Madison, this is incredible, my mother says after her first bite. You should open a bakery. Oh, I don't know about that. Madison demurs, but she's glowing. Maybe just a little catering business for friends, something fun. That would be perfect, my mother agrees. Something you can do from home, on your own schedule, not like those corporate jobs that consume your whole life. She doesn't look at me when she says it, but everyone else does. I eat my slice of Madison's tart. It's delicious, and I hate that it's delicious. After dinner, we migrate to the living room. My father turns on the football game, Dallas versus Seattle. The men cluster around the TV, debating plays and statistics. The women occupy the seating area, nursing coffee and continuing their conversations. I sit on the edge of the room, checking my phone. 8:30, 17 minutes. Harper, put your phone away, my mother says. Be present with your family. I look up at her. She's sitting in her favorite chair, Madison on the ottoman beside her, their heads closed together as they flip through a magazine with Christmas decor inspiration. I am present, I say quietly. Barely, she doesn't look up from the magazine. You've been distracted all evening. Is something wrong? Work trouble? There's no work trouble, Mom. Well, you'd tell us if there was, wouldn't you? We're your family. We want to support you, even when things don't work out. Madison glances at me, and for just a second I see something in her expression. Not sympathy, satisfaction. She knows exactly what she's doing, what Mom is doing. This isn't accidental. This is intentional cruelty, dressed up as concern. Actually, Mom, I wanted to tell you something, I say, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. Something exciting about work. Oh, she looks up, her expression polite but uninterested. What's that, dear? My company just. Oh my God, this play? Uncle Robert shouts from across the room, and everyone's attention snaps to the TV. Seattle just scored a touchdown. The men are on their feet, celebrating. The moment dissolves. My mother turns back to Madison. Now, about the Christmas centerpiece, I'm thinking we go with gold and white this year instead of red. I stand up, I walk to the kitchen, I pour myself a large glass of wine. My hands are shaking. 8:43, 4 minutes. I return to the living room and sit in a chair with a clear view of the TV. The game is at halftime. A commercial for car insurance plays, then one for beer. The room's conversation continues around me, a buzz of voices that sound far away. 8:46. 30 seconds. A pharmaceutical ad ends. The screen goes black for a moment. Again then. It opens on a close-up of a coffee cup, steam rising. The camera pulls back slowly to reveal a small coffee shop, golden morning light streaming through the windows. A woman walks in, she looks tired, like she's had a long week. The barista sees her and smiles. Good morning, Sarah, the barista says, already reaching for a cup. Morning, James, Sarah replies. The commercial continues, showing moments of connection. The barista remembering orders, asking about a customer's daughter's soccer game, making a heart in the foam of someone's latte without being asked. It's intimate, warm, achingly familiar. My voice comes on in narration. In a world that moves too fast, where everything feels temporary and anonymous, there's still places that remember your name. The screen shows the Cascade Coffee logo, then the tagline, "Home is where your coffee knows your name." It ends with a shot of multiple Cascade locations across the Pacific Northwest, then the announcement, "Coming to a city near you." The room has gone quiet. I'm staring at the TV, my heart pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. Wait, Bethany says slowly. Harper, was that your voice? Everyone turns to look at me. I set down my wine glass. Yes. That was a national commercial, Uncle Robert says, sounding stunned. And yes. My mother's face has gone pale. Harper, what? That was my campaign, I say, my voice calm now steady, for my company's biggest client. It took 9 months to develop, test, and produce. It just aired during a nationally broadcast NFL game. Approximately 18 million people just saw it. The silence in the room is absolute. Madison is staring at me like she's seeing a ghost. My father leans forward. You made that. My team and I, yes. I conceptualized it, pitched it to the client, oversaw every aspect of production. I look at my mother. That's what I've been trying to tell you about. That's the exciting news I wanted to share. My mother opens her mouth, closes it. For the first time in my life, I've seen her completely at a loss for words. Harper, Aunt Linda says softly, honey, that was beautiful, truly beautiful. Thank you. How long have you been working on this? My father asks. 9 months for this specific project, 4 years building the department that made it possible. And my mother's voice is faint, you're the one who created it. I'm the senior vice president of marketing. Yes, I created it. Bethany is grinning at me from across the room, her eyes bright with vindication. Madison has gone very still, her face a careful mask. I don't understand, my mother says. Why didn't you tell us? I look at her for a long moment. I tried, Mom, multiple times, but you were always more interested in Madison's Pinterest boards than my actual career. The words land like stones in still water. My mother flinches. Harper, that's not fair. Isn't it? I stand up. Mom, you told everyone I was unemployed. You told our entire family that I got fired, that I'm living off credit cards, that I'm struggling. Why would you do that? I didn't, I never said. She's flustered now, looking around the room for support. You did, Bethany says quietly. Last week at book club, you said Harper was between opportunities and you were worried about her finances. My mother's face flushes red. I was concerned. I didn't hear from you for weeks, Harper. What was I supposed to think? You could have called me. You could have asked. Instead, you assumed the worst and broadcast it to everyone. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Madison interjects, her voice smooth, diplomatic. She's trying to diffuse the situation, protect Mom. Harper, you know how Mom worries. She didn't mean anything by it. I turn to my sister. You knew, didn't you, about the campaign? She hesitates just long enough for me to know I'm right. I saw your LinkedIn post, I continue. 3 weeks ago, you congratulated me on the Cascade account. You knew exactly what I was working on. Madison's careful mask cracks. I thought you'd appreciate the support. And you didn't think to mention it to Mom, to correct her when she was telling everyone I was unemployed. The room is watching us like spectators at a tennis match. Madison's expression hardens. I'm not responsible for managing your relationship with Mom. No, I agree, but you're more than happy to benefit from it. Harper, that's enough, my mother snaps, finding her voice again. You're being unfair to your sister. This is Thanksgiving. This is family time. Is it? I grab my purse from the side table. Because it doesn't feel much like family when you sabotage your own daughter. Sabotage? My mother stands up, her voice rising. How dare you? I have done nothing but support you your entire life. You've supported the daughter you wish I was. The one who gave up her ambitions to be someone's wife and throw charity galas. But I'm not her, Mom. I'm never going to be her. I head toward the door. Harper, wait, my father's voice stops me. He's standing now, looking uncomfortable but resolute. That commercial, it was really good. It's the first time he's complimented my work in years. I nod, thanks, Dad. Maybe, he continues, glancing at my mother, we haven't been paying enough attention to what you've been accomplishing. It's not an apology, but from him it's something. I leave before my mother can spin this into something else. Another narrative where I'm the ungrateful daughter causing drama at family events. In my car, I sit in the dark driveway for a moment, shaking, not from fear or sadness. From rage, from relief, from the dizzying rush of finally telling the truth. My phone buzzes, a text from Jack. We're getting calls, everyone wants to know who did that spot. Harper, you're about to be very famous. I start the engine and drive back toward Seattle, toward my life, toward everything I've built without their support or approval. And for the first time in years, I feel free. The weekend after Thanksgiving is surreal. My phone doesn't stop buzzing. Texts from former colleagues, friends I haven't spoken to in months, even my college roommate who I lost touch with years ago. Everyone saw the commercial. Everyone wants to congratulate me. Everyone except my mother. By Monday morning, the industry response is overwhelming. Jack forwards me emails from 3 major agencies asking if I'm available for consulting work. LinkedIn notifications flood in, connection requests from CMOs, brand directors, creative leads at companies I've only dreamed of working with. Our company's website traffic spikes by 300%. Cascade Coffee's CMO calls Jack personally to tell him their franchise inquiries have doubled. I'm sitting in my office, staring at my inbox, when my assistant Priya knocks on the door. Harper, there's a reporter from Ad Age on line 2. They want to interview you for a feature on emerging creative directors. Ad Age, the advertising industry's most prestigious publication. Tell them I'll call back within the hour, I say. After Priya leaves, I spin my chair to face the window. The Seattle skyline looks different today, sharper somehow, like the world has clicked into a higher resolution. My phone rings, Madison. I let it go to voicemail. She calls again immediately, then again. On the 4th call, I answer, What? Harper, her voice is strained. We need to talk. I don't think we do. Mom is devastated. She's been crying all weekend. She doesn't understand why you're so angry. I laugh, sharp and bitter. Of course she doesn't. She was trying to protect you. She thought you were struggling, and she didn't want the family to judge you. By telling them I was unemployed, that's protection. She was worried. You never tell us anything about your life. How is she supposed to know what's going on if you don't communicate? I close my eyes, pinching the bridge of my nose. Madison, I tried to tell her, multiple times, she wasn't interested, neither were you. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time you asked about my job? About anything in my life that doesn't involve me admiring yours? Silence on the other end. I thought so, I say quietly. You're being cruel, Madison's voice cracks. You embarrassed Mom in front of the entire family. Aunt Linda hasn't stopped texting her. Uncle Robert called Dad. Everyone is talking about it. Good, let them talk. Harper. Madison, I need to go. I have an interview with Ad Age in 20 minutes. Of course you do. Her voice turns cold. This is what you wanted, isn't it? To make us all feel small, to prove you're better than us. No, I say. I wanted my family to see me. That's all I've ever wanted, but I'm done begging for it. I hang up. My hands are shaking. I set the phone face down on my desk and take 3 long breaths. There's a soft knock. Jack stands in the doorway. You okay? He asks. Family stuff. He nods, understanding in his expression. I saw the commercial blow up on social media over the weekend. 30 million impressions and counting. Harper, this is beyond anything we projected. As I know. Have you thought more about New York? I look at him, yes. And I want to do it. His face breaks into a grin. Yeah. Yeah, let's build something great. After he leaves, I pull up my email and start typing a response to Ad Age. But my mind keeps drifting back to Thanksgiving, to my mother's face when she realized what she'd done, to Madison's careful mask cracking. For years, I've absorbed their dismissal, their casual cruelty disguised as concern. I've made myself smaller to avoid conflict, swallowed my accomplishments to keep the peace. But I'm done shrinking. The Ad Age interview publishes on Wednesday. It's titled The Quiet Revolutionaries: How Harper Westfield is Redefining Emotional Marketing. They use a photo from our company website. Me in my office, Seattle skyline behind me, looking competent and confident. The article details my career trajectory, the philosophy behind the Cascade campaign, and includes quotes from Jack about my promotion to CMO. It mentions, in passing, that I'm opening and leading our New York office. My mother calls 30 minutes after it goes live. I'm in a meeting when my phone lights up with her contact. I silence it. She calls again during lunch, again at 3 p.m. By 5 o'clock, she's called 7 times and left 4 voicemails. I don't listen to them. That evening, I'm home making dinner when my doorbell rings. I'm not expecting anyone. Through the peephole, I see my father. I open the door slowly. Dad. Harper, he looks uncomfortable, his hands shoved in his coat pockets. Can I come in? I step aside. My apartment is small but nice. 1 bedroom, open concept, floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the water. I've decorated it carefully over the years. Art from local galleries, plants that somehow manage to survive my schedule, a bookshelf full of marketing theory and fiction I rarely have time to read. My father stands in the entryway, looking around like he's never been here before. He hasn't. In 4 years, he's never once visited my apartment. Coffee, I offer. And sure. We sit at my small kitchen table, mugs between us, an awkward silence filling the space. Finally, he says, Your mother sent me. Of course she did. She wants to apologize, he continues. She feels terrible about what happened. Does she? I take a sip of coffee. Or does she feel embarrassed that everyone knows what she said? He sighs, Harper, you have to understand, your mother, she comes from a different generation, different expectations. I know that, Dad, but that doesn't excuse the lying. She wasn't lying, she genuinely thought you were struggling. How could she think that when I've been telling her for years about my career, when I sent her articles about our company, about campaigns we've won? I invited her to our office holiday party 3 years in a row. She never came. He's quiet for a long moment. Your sister has always been easier for your mother to understand. The life Madison chose, marriage, home, traditional roles, that's what your mother knows. What you're doing, it's impressive, Harper, but it's foreign to her. So she invents a narrative where I'm failing. She was worried about you. You're 32, unmarried, working all the time. In her mind, that's not success, that's sacrifice. I set down my mug carefully. Dad, do you think I'm successful? He meets my eyes. I read that article today, the one in Ad Age. I didn't understand half the terminology, but I understood enough. Yes, Harper, I think you're very successful. Then, why have you never said that before? His face tightens. I don't know, I suppose I thought you knew. You've always been so independent, so driven. You never seem to need our approval. Everyone needs their parents' approval, Dad, even the independent ones. We sit in silence again. Outside my windows, the Seattle evening is painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Your mother wants you to come to Christmas, he says finally. Madison too, they want to start over. I'm not ready for that. I understand, but think about it, please. After he leaves, I stand at my window for a long time, watching the lights of the city flicker on one by one. My phone buzzes, a text from Bethany. I'm so proud of you, you were incredible. Then one from my college roommate. Holy shit, Harper, I saw the article, you're a badass. Then, surprisingly, one from an unknown number. Hi Harper, this is Alexis Chen from the Women in Marketing Leadership Group. We'd love to have you speak at our conference in March about navigating family expectations while building a career. Would you be interested? I respond to all three, yes to the speaking engagement, thanks to Bethany, a laughing emoji to my college friend. But I don't text my mother back. Not yet. December arrives with rain and deadlines. The Cascade campaign's success has opened doors I didn't know existed. We're fielding calls from potential clients daily. Jack is in talks with 3 different companies about acquisition offers. The board approves the New York office expansion with an aggressive timeline. I need to be there by March. I throw myself into work, 12-hour days, weekends at the office. I'm building the foundation for the New York team, creating job descriptions, developing a recruitment strategy, establishing the operational framework. It's exhausting and exhilarating. And it keeps me from thinking about my family. But 2 weeks before Christmas, I get an email that changes everything. It's from Meredith Stone, CEO of Luminary Group, one of the top marketing conglomerates in the country. The subject line reads, Coffee. Her message is brief. Harper, I've been following your work for the past year. The Cascade campaign was brilliant. I'd love to discuss an opportunity. Are you available for a call this week? I read it 3 times, my heart racing. Luminary Group. They represent Fortune 500 companies. Their creative teams have won every major industry award. Working there is the dream for most people in marketing. I scheduled the call for Friday. That night, I break my silence with my mother. Not because I'm ready to forgive her, but because I need to tell someone, and despite everything, she's still my mom. I call her at 8 p.m. She answers on the first ring. Harper, her voice is thick with emotion. Sweetheart, I'm so glad you called. Ty's mom. I've been so worried. I wanted to give you space, but it's been 2 weeks and Mom, I need to tell you something. She goes quiet. I have a call tomorrow with the CEO of Luminary Group. They want to talk to me about an opportunity. Silence, then, Harper, that's wonderful, isn't it? It could be, it's a huge deal. If they offer me a position, it would change everything. Are you going to take it? I don't even know what it is yet, but yes, if the offer is right, I would take it. What about New York? Your father said you were moving there for your company. I might not need to, depending on what Luminary offers. More silence, then my mother says quietly, I'm proud of you, Harper. I know I haven't said that enough, or at all, but I'm so proud. The words hit me unexpectedly hard, my throat tightens. Thank you, I manage. I was wrong, she continues. About so many things, I let my own limited understanding of success blind me to what you were accomplishing. I made assumptions and spread them as fact, and that was cruel, I'm sorry. It's not perfect, it doesn't erase everything, but it's a start. I appreciate that, Mom. Will you come to Christmas, please? I want to celebrate you. I want the family to celebrate you properly. I hesitate, I'll think about it. After we hang up, I sit in my dark apartment, my phone still warm in my hand. Forgiveness isn't a switch, it's a process. but maybe, we can find our way back to something resembling a functional relationship. The call with Meredith Stone on Friday lasts 90 minutes. She's in her mid-50s, sharp and direct, with a reputation for building empires. She gets straight to the point. Luminary Group is expanding their West Coast presence. They want to open a Seattle office focused on tech and lifestyle brands. They want me to lead it as executive vice president and partner. Partner, equity in one of the most powerful marketing firms in the world. The compensation package she outlines is staggering. More than double my current retry DR continue edit salary. Full benefits. A team of 30 to start, with plans to scale to 100 within 2 years. I'm not going to pretend this isn't partially selfish, Meredith says, her voice warm through the phone. I've watched too many talented women get poached by New York or LA, leaving the West Coast with a brain drain problem. I want to build something here that's so compelling, people like you don't have to choose between proximity to power and proximity to home. That's exactly what I've been trying to articulate for years, I say. I know, I read your interview in Ad Age 3 times. Harper, you understand something that most people in this industry miss. Emotional resonance isn't about manipulation. It's about truth. The Cascade campaign worked because it tapped into something real, the human need for connection, for being known. That's rare. We talk strategy, vision, timeline. She wants an answer by January 15th. The office would launch in April. When the call ends, I sit in stunned silence. This is it. This is the opportunity that validates every late night, every sacrifice, every moment I chose my career over comfort. I called Jack immediately. I need to talk to you, I say, in person. We meet at a coffee shop near the office, ironically, a Cascade Coffee location. Jack orders us both lattes, and we sit in a quiet corner. They made you an offer, he says, it's not a question. And yes. He nods slowly. I figured they would. Meredith doesn't take 90-minute calls with people she's not serious about. He takes a sip of coffee. Are you going to take it? I don't know, Jack, you gave me everything. You took a chance on me when I was nobody. You built me up, trusted me with massive responsibility. The thought of leaving feels like the right career move, he finishes. Harper, I'm not going to lie. Losing you would hurt. You're the best executive I've ever worked with. But this? He gestures vaguely. This is bigger than Catalyst. This is your shot at the big leagues. New York was supposed to be the big leagues. New York was the next step. Luminary is the leap, you know that. I stare into my latte. I feel like I'm betraying you. You're not, you're growing, that's what you're supposed to do. He leans back in his chair. Besides, I'm not an idiot. I knew the second that commercial aired that I had maybe 6 months before someone came calling. I'm just glad it's Meredith. She'll treat you right. You're taking this remarkably well. He grins. I'm already planning your replacement. Don't tell anyone, but I've been eyeing this director at a Portland agency who's brilliant and hungry. Your success makes recruiting easier. We talk for another hour, about the transition, about timing, about what this means for both of us. By the time we leave, I feel lighter, clearer. I'm going to take the Luminary offer. I'm going to bet on myself. Christmas at my parents' house is different this year. I arrive on Christmas Eve, carrying gifts and a homemade dish. I actually attempted to cook something, a cranberry and goat cheese crostini recipe I found online. It's not Madison-level perfect, but it's edible. The house looks like a winter wonderland. My mother has outdone herself with decorations. White lights everywhere, a massive tree in the living room, garland winding up the staircase. It's beautiful, and for once, I let myself appreciate it without the weight of comparison. Madison and Brandon are already there. When I walk in, my sister stands up from the couch, her expression uncertain. Harper, she says, hi. Hi. We hug, and it's awkward, but it's genuine. I read the Ad Age article, Madison says quietly. It was really impressive. I had no idea you'd accomplished so much. Thanks. I'm sorry I didn't pay more attention. To your work, to your life. I got so wrapped up in my own stuff that I forgot to ask about yours. It's not a perfect apology, but it's honest. I appreciate that, I say. My mother appears from the kitchen. wearing an apron and a nervous smile. "Harper, sweetheart, I'm so glad you're here." She hugs me tightly, longer than usual. When she pulls back, her eyes are shiny. "I made your favorite, that mushroom Wellington you always loved when you were little." I'm surprised she remembers. Dinner is a revelation. For the first time in years, people ask me about my work. My father wants to know about the production process for the Cascade commercial. Uncle Robert asks about the business side of marketing. Aunt Linda asks if I've met any celebrities. And Madison actually listens. She asks thoughtful questions about the creative process, about how I balance multiple clients, about what it's like to be a woman in a male-dominated industry. My mother watches all of this with a mixture of pride and regret. After dinner, as we're clearing plates, she pulls me aside into the kitchen. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said at Thanksgiving," she says, her voice low, "about how I never saw you. And you were right, Harper, I didn't see you. I saw my own fears and projections." "Hey, Mom, let me finish." She sets down the plate she's holding. "I grew up in a world where a woman's value was measured by her husband and her home. That's what my mother taught me, what her mother taught her. When I had you in Madison, I didn't know how to give you a different map. I gave you the only one I had." She looks at me, really looks at me, for the first time in years. "But you drew your own map, Harper. You went places I couldn't even imagine. And instead of celebrating that, I panicked. I thought if you weren't following my path, you must be lost. I was wrong. You weren't lost, you were pioneering." Tears are running down my face now. "I don't need you to understand every aspect of my career," I say, "but I need you to trust that I know what I'm doing, that my choices are valid, even when they're different from yours." "I'm learning," she says. "I'm trying. Will you be patient with me?" "Yes, Mom, I will." We hug in the kitchen, both of us crying, and something that's been broken for a very long time starts to heal. Later, when we're all in the living room, watching It's a Wonderful Life and eating cookies, I make an announcement. "I have some news," I say. Everyone turns to look at me. I've been offered a position with Luminary Group, partner and EVP of their new Seattle office. I'm taking it. The room explodes with congratulations. My father hugs me. Aunt Linda asks if she can tell her book club. Bethany squeals and tackles me with enthusiasm. And Madison stands up and raises her wine glass. "To Harper," she says, "who never gave up even when we couldn't see what she was building, I'm proud to call you my sister." Everyone drinks. My mother is crying again, but this time she's smiling. For the first time in my adult life, I feel seen by my family. Not tolerated, not accommodated, seen. The week between Christmas and New Year's is usually quiet in the business world, but not this year. Meredith sends me the official offer letter on December 27th. It's everything she promised and more, including a clause that gives me creative control over client selection and campaign direction. I sign it on December 30th. On January 2nd, I give my notice to Jack. We make it official. I'll transition through February, help establish the New York office remotely, and start at Luminary on March 1st. The industry news breaks on January 4th. Ad Age runs the headline. Harper Westfield joins Luminary Group as partner, will lead new Seattle office. My phone doesn't stop for 3 days. But one call stands out. It's from a number I don't recognize. When I answer, a woman's voice says, "Harper Westfield." And yes, this is Jennifer Matsuda. I'm a producer for the Today Show. We're doing a segment on women who are reshaping the marketing industry, and your name keeps coming up. Would you be interested in coming to New York for an interview? I have to sit down. The Today Show, national morning television, millions of viewers. Yes, I say, absolutely yes. The interview is scheduled for January 20th. They're flying me to New York, putting me up in a hotel, giving me the full treatment. I'll be on a panel with 2 other female executives, talking about breaking barriers and redefining success. I tell my mother first. "The Today Show," she screams into the phone. "Harper, oh my God." As I know. "I'm calling everyone. I'm hosting a watch party. Do you know what time it airs?" "Mom, you don't have to." Harper Elizabeth Westfield, I am throwing you a watch party and you cannot stop me. I laugh and it feels good. Okay, Mom. I'm so proud of you, baby, so proud. When I tell Madison, she says, I'm coming to the watch party, and I'm bringing champagne, the expensive kind. The day of the Today Show interview, I wake up at 4:30 a.m. in a Manhattan hotel room. My stomach is a knot of nerves. I've been on podcasts, done print interviews, even spoken at conferences. But this is different. This is live television. This is my mother's friends watching. This is the entire industry watching. This is my moment to show everyone, including myself, exactly who Harper Westfield is. The hair and makeup team at NBC is incredible. They transform me into a polished version of myself, professional but approachable, confident but relatable. I wear a cobalt blue blazer that pops on camera, paired with a simple white blouse. When I walk onto the set, Savannah Guthrie greets me warmly. The other two panelists are already there. Maria Gonzalez, CMO of a major tech company, and Keisha Williams, founder of a successful digital agency. We make small talk before the cameras roll. Both women have seen the Cascade campaign. Both have followed my career trajectory. We bond quickly over shared experiences, the subtle sexism, the assumptions about our capabilities, the constant need to prove ourselves. Then the cameras are on. Savannah introduces us, gives context about the shifting landscape of marketing, and turns to me first. Harper, you've had a meteoric rise in the past few months. But it's not just about one successful campaign, is it? It's about what that campaign represented. Tell us about the philosophy behind your work. I take a breath, this is it. I think for a long time, marketing treated emotion as a tool, something to manipulate people into buying products, I say. But what I've learned is that the most powerful campaigns don't manipulate emotion. They honor it. They recognize that people aren't just consumers. They're humans looking for connection, for meaning, for moments that make them feel seen. Savannah nods, and that's not always understood or valued, especially for women in leadership positions. Exactly. There's this perception that emotional intelligence is soft, that it's less valuable than aggressive sales tactics or data-driven strategy. But emotion and data aren't opposites. The best work happens when you combine both, when you understand the numbers and the hearts behind them. Maria jumps in. Harper, you're the youngest person on this panel, but you've already broken through barriers that took some of us decades to reach. What advice would you give to young women just starting out? I think about my mother, about Madison, about every family gathering where I felt invisible. Stop waiting for permission to be successful, I say. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Your ambition isn't a character flaw. Your drive isn't something to apologize for. Build the career you want, not the one people expect you to want. Keisha leans forward. That's powerful, but it's also hard, isn't it? Especially when the resistance comes from the people closest to you. She's giving me an opening, she somehow knows. Yes, I admit. The hardest part of my journey wasn't the professional obstacles. It was navigating family expectations. I come from a traditional background where success for women looked very different than what I was building. For a long time, I internalized their disappointment as evidence of my failure. What changed? Savannah asks. I stopped measuring my worth by their metrics. I defined success for myself, and then I achieved it on my own terms. And eventually, they came around. But even if they hadn't, I would still be exactly where I am today. The interview continues for another 10 minutes. We talk about mentorship, about systemic barriers, about the future of women in marketing. It's honest and raw, and exactly the conversation I wish I'd heard when I was 25 and terrified I was on the wrong path. When it's over, when the cameras stop rolling, Maria hugs me. You're going to change things for a lot of young women, she says. Thank you for being so honest. Back in Seattle, my mother's watch party is in full swing. She's invited 40 people, family, neighbors, her book club, my sister's friends. The living room is packed. I FaceTime Madison during my flight home. Harper, oh my God, she says, her face is flushed, excited. You were incredible, everyone is crying. Mom has watched the recording 3 times already. Oh, really? Really? Harper, you were so poised, so articulate. I felt like I was watching a stranger. Not because you weren't yourself, but because I realized I never really knew this version of you. The confident, powerful version. I've always been here, Mads. I know, I just wasn't paying attention, but I am now, we all are. When I land in Seattle, my phone is flooded with messages. Former colleagues, college friends, people I haven't spoken to in years, but the one that matters most is from my mother. Watching you today, I finally understood what you've been trying to tell me. You didn't choose a different path because you were lost. You chose it because you were brave. I love you, Harper, forever proud. I read it 3 times on the drive home from the airport. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I pour myself a glass of wine and stand at my window, looking out at the city I've called home for a decade. I think about the girl I was at 22, fresh out of college, terrified and ambitious and desperate to prove herself. I think about all the moments I questioned whether I was on the right path, whether the sacrifice was worth it. And I think about the woman I am now, 32, successful on my own terms, finally seen by the people who matter. The revenge I wanted was never about humiliation. It was about vindication, about proving to myself, more than anyone else, that I made the right choices. And I did. February passes in a blur of transitions. I spend my days at Catalyst, documenting processes, training my replacement, a brilliant 30-year-old named Simone who reminds me of myself 5 years ago, and making sure the New York office has everything it needs to launch successfully. My evenings are spent preparing for Luminary. Meredith and I have video calls twice a week, building the framework for the Seattle office. We're recruiting aggressively, targeting talent from agencies across the West Coast. By mid-February, we've hired 15 people. By the end of the month, 23. I find an office space in Pioneer Square, a renovated brick building with exposed beams and floor-to-ceiling windows. It feels creative and historic and very Seattle. Meredith approves immediately. My relationship with my family continues to evolve. My mother and I have lunch every other week. She asks about my work now, actually listening when I explain strategy or client challenges. She doesn't always understand, but she tries. Madison and I meet for coffee regularly. She started a blog about sustainable living, and she asks for my advice on marketing and brand development. We're not as close as some sisters, but we're building something real for the first time in years. My father surprises me in late February by showing up at my apartment with takeout. I wanted to see you before you start the new job, he says. Thought we could have dinner, just the two of us. We eat Thai food on my couch and talk about everything: his practice, my career, his childhood, my plans for the future. It's the longest conversation we've had in a decade. I wasn't a very good father to you, he says as he's leaving. I let your mother take the lead on parenting, and I didn't question her assumptions. I should have advocated for you more. I should have seen you more clearly. Dad, let me say this. He puts his hands on my shoulders. You turned out extraordinary despite us, not because of us, but I want you to know I'm paying attention now. I'm here, whatever you need. I hug him tightly. Thanks, Dad. March 1st arrives, my first day at Luminary. The Seattle office isn't finished yet, construction is still ongoing, so we're working out of a temporary space. But it doesn't matter, the energy is electric. 23 talented people, all handpicked, all bought into the vision. Meredith flies in for the first week. She leads the all-hands meeting, talking about the legacy we're building, the impact we're going to have. Then she turns the floor over to me. I stand in front of my new team, these brilliant strangers who took a chance on this venture, and I feel a surge of purpose so strong it's almost overwhelming. I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers, I say. I'm 32. Some of you have more experience than me, but what I do have is a vision. I believe we can build an agency that values creativity and data equally. That treats emotional intelligence as a strategic advantage, not a soft skill. That proves you don't have to choose between commercial success and meaningful work. I pause, looking at each face. My entire career, people have underestimated me. They've assumed that because I cared about storytelling and human connection, I wasn't serious about business. They were wrong. and we're going to prove them wrong every single day. The team erupts in applause. That night, Meredith takes me to dinner at a restaurant overlooking Elliott Bay. "You were born for this," she says, raising her wine glass. "To Harper Westfield, partner, leader, the future of this industry." We toast. "Can I tell you something?" Meredith says. "When I was your age, I was still a junior creative director, taking notes in meetings where men talked over me. I didn't make partner until I was 42. What you've accomplished at 32 is extraordinary. Don't ever let anyone, including yourself, diminish that. Thank you for everything, for believing in me. Harper, I didn't give you anything. You earned every bit of this. I just recognized what was already there." A month later, the Cascade Coffee campaign wins a Gold Effie Award for marketing effectiveness. I fly to New York for the ceremony, bringing my mother and Madison as my guests. When they call my name, when I walk on stage to accept the award, I see them in the audience. My mother with tears streaming down her face, Madison on her feet applauding. In my acceptance speech, I thank my team at Catalyst, Jack for taking a chance on me, Meredith for seeing my potential. And then I say, "I also want to thank my family. It hasn't always been easy, and we haven't always understood each other. But the thing about family is that the story isn't over until we decide it is. We can rewrite the narrative. We can choose to see each other clearly, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." I look directly at my mother. "Thank you for learning to see me. Thank you for being willing to grow." After the ceremony, at the after party, my mother pulls me aside. "Harper, that speech," she's crying again. "I don't deserve that grace." "Mom, none of us are perfect. What matters is that we keep trying." She hugs me fiercely. "I love you. I am so, so proud of you." Madison joins us, wrapping her arms around both of us. "The Westfield women," she says, finally figuring it out. We laugh, standing there in our evening gowns, holding each other in a fancy Manhattan ballroom, and I feel something I haven't felt in years, whole. 6 months later, on a crisp October morning, I'm standing in the completed Luminary Seattle office, watching the sun rise over the city. The space is everything I envisioned: creative, collaborative, inspiring. We're now 40 people strong, with 3 major clients and a pipeline full of opportunities. My phone buzzes, a text from Bethany. "Just saw your team's campaign for Ecotech. Harper, it's brilliant, you're changing the industry." Then one from Jack. "Heard through the grapevine that you're up for Campaign of the Year at Cannes. That's my girl, so proud." Then my mother. "Sunday dinner at our house. I'm making your favorite. And I promise we'll talk about your week, not just Madison's charity event." I smile, typing back responses. The truth is, I don't need their validation anymore. I've built something that stands on its own merit. I've proven to myself, more than anyone, that I made the right choices. But having their support, their genuine pride, that's not necessary for my success, but it makes the journey sweeter. I think about that night last November, sitting at my parents' Thanksgiving table, feeling invisible and diminished. I think about the commercial playing, the moment everything shifted. Some people would call what happened revenge, but revenge implies that I did it to them, to hurt them, to prove them wrong. That's not what this was. This was me refusing to disappear, me insisting on being seen, me choosing my own definition of success and achieving it, regardless of whether anyone was watching. The fact that they were watching, that they finally saw me, that was just a bonus. My calendar alerts me. Team meeting in 15 minutes. I grab my coffee and head to the conference room, where my team is already gathering, laptops open, ideas flowing. This is my life now, the one I built, the one I earned. And it's exactly what I wanted. 6 months after that, I'm in the back of a car headed to Lax, about to catch a flight to France for the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity. Our Ecotech campaign is nominated in 3 categories. My team, my brilliant, creative, passionate team, is already there, ready to celebrate regardless of whether we win. My phone rings. Madison. "Harper, I have news," she says, and her voice is shaking with excitement. "What's going on?" "I just got accepted into the MBA program at UW. I start in January." I break into a huge grin. Madison, that's incredible. I know, I can't believe it. Brandon is nervous. He's very traditional about gender roles, but I told him this is happening. I'm 29 years old and I want to build something of my own. Good for you, I'm so proud of you. I learned from watching you, she says quietly. Watching you refuse to shrink yourself. It gave me permission to want more for myself too. After we hang up, I lean back in the car seat, watching Lowe's angels pass by the window. This is the real victory, not the awards or the titles or the money. It's this, inspiring my sister to bet on herself, showing her that there's more than one way to be a woman, to be successful, to be whole. That's the legacy I want to build. 1 year after that Thanksgiving, I'm back at my parents' house for the holiday, but everything is different now. The table is full, extended family plus some additions, my team's creative director and his husband, Bethany's new girlfriend, Madison's MBA study group friends. It's chaotic and loud and perfect. My mother is in her element, but she's different too. Softer, more present. She asks everyone about their work, their passions, their dreams. She listens. When dinner is served, my father stands and raises his glass. I want to make a toast, he says. This past year has taught me something important. Success doesn't have a single definition. It looks different for everyone. And the job of a parent, the job of a family, is to support each person's journey, not to dictate what that journey should be. He looks at me. Harper, you taught us that, thank you. Everyone drinks. Later, as we're cleaning up, the football game plays in the background. A commercial comes on, not mine, but one from a competitor agency. It's good, really good. That's beautiful, my mother says, watching it, but not as good as yours. I laugh. Mom, you're biased. Maybe, but I'm also right. She puts her arm around my waist. Harper, can I tell you something? And sure. I brag about you constantly now. To everyone. The barista at my coffee shop, my book club, random people at the grocery store. Your Aunt Linda jokes that I'm becoming insufferable. Mom. I'm making up for lost time. I have a daughter who's changing her industry, who's mentoring young women, who's building something extraordinary. I'm going to talk about it, loudly and frequently. I hug her tightly. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby, so much. As the evening winds down, as people start heading home, I stand on my parents' front porch, looking up at the stars. My phone buzzes, an email from Meredith, board-approved Seattle office expansion. We're doubling your team and your budget. Congratulations, Harper, you've earned it. I close my eyes and breathe in the November air. A year ago, I sat at this house feeling invisible, dismissed, diminished. Today, I stand here as a partner at one of the world's leading marketing firms, a mentor to dozens of young professionals, a daughter finally seen by her parents, a sister who helped her sibling find her own path. This is what winning looks like. Not revenge, not vindication. Just a life well built, on my own terms, with my family finally along for the ride. I walk back inside, back to the warmth and laughter and imperfect love of family, and I think this is everything. If this were your story, if your family dismissed your success, diminished your achievements, spread lies about your career, would you stay silent or would you fight back? Would you let them define your narrative or would you show them exactly who you are? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, know this, your success doesn't need their permission. Build the life you want, the recognition will follow. Or it won't, but you'll be successful either way. That's the real power.